Good morning. This is Akashvani. I'm Anuja Kumar with the World News. The headlines. US President Donald Trump praises India's voter ID system, hails it as a model for stricter US election rules. India to host 12th BRICS Environment Ministers meeting in New Delhi today. Indian Army Chief General Dheeraj Seth conferred rank of Honorary General of Nepal Army by President Ramchandra Podel in Kathmandu. Direct exports and imports from Vizhinjam Seaport in Kerala begins today, and Ayush Shetty stuns world number 1 and defending champion Shi Yu-chi in first round of men's singles at BWF Badminton World Championships in New Delhi. And now the news in detail. US President Donald Trump has praised India's voter ID card system and hailed it as a model for stricter US election rules. He cited India's electoral system as an example of election security, while renewing his call for stricter voter identification requirements in the United States. We have
in a social media post, Mr. Trump referred to a recent conversation with India's Chief Election Commissioner Gyanesh Kumar. He said Mr. Kumar had questioned how elections could be held in the United States without a mandatory valid photo identity document. Mr. Trump used the remarks to reiterate his demand that the US Congress pass the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility, that is Save America Act. The proposed legislation seeks to introduce stricter requirements for voting in federal elections. It would require voters to provide documentary proof of US citizenship as well as valid government-issued photo identification while registering for federal elections. The White House has described the legislation as a measure to ensure that only US citizens participate in American elections. The US administration has said India and Brazil link voter identification with biometric databases, while the United States largely relies on self-attestation for citizenship. Mr. Trump also highlighted the scale of India's general elections, saying around 642 million people voted in the country's most recent general election. Kaumudi Parekh, Akashvani News, Delhi.
India will host the 12th BRICS Environment Ministers meeting in New Delhi today. Environment, Forest and Climate Change Ministry said the meeting will provide a platform to engage in substantive discussions, foster consensus and strengthen environmental cooperation.
The BRICS Environment Ministers meeting will be presided over by Union Minister for Environment, Forest and Climate Change Bhupendra Yadav. The event will be held under the overarching theme of India's BRICS Chairship 2026, Building for Resilience, Innovation, Cooperation and Sustainability. India has identified 4 priority areas for focused engagements under the BRICS Environment Working Group. These include promoting sustainable lifestyles, afforestation, forest fire management and disaster resilience, circular economy and adaptation. The BRICS Environment Working Group was established in 2015 during the first BRICS Environment Ministers meeting in Moscow. It was envisioned as a platform for BRICS countries to address fundamental environmental priorities, exchange experiences, share best practices and strengthen collective action among member countries. The Contact Group on Climate Change and Sustainable Development was established in 2024 as an effective mechanism for cooperation on climate change issues among BRICS member countries. Nitika Gupta, Akashvani News, Delhi.
In Kerala, direct exports and imports from Vizhinjam Seaport will begin today. Chief Minister V.D. Satishan will inaugurate the service at 10:45 a.m. Union Minister for Ports, Shipping and Waterways Sarbanand Sonowal will be the chief guest. More from our correspondent.
Direct exports and imports of cargo through Vizhinjam port in Kerala will begin today, marking a new phase in the port's operations. Until now, Vizhinjam has functioned primarily as an international transshipment hub where containers arriving on large vessels known as motherships have transferred to smaller vessels for on-way transportation. The Customs Preventive Commissioner granted permission to handle exports and imports on July 17. Initially, Vizhinjam port will handle only full container load FCL cargo for both imports and exports. The port was dedicated to the nation on May 2nd last year. Smiti M. Palluruthi, Akashvani News, Thiruvananthapuram.
Indian Army Chief General Dheeraj Seth has been conferred the rank of Honorary General of Nepal Army by President Ramchandra Paudel during an investiture ceremony at Sheetal Niwas in Kathmandu yesterday. Nepal Vice President Ram Sahai Prasad Yadav, Foreign Minister Shishir Khanal, India's ambassador to Nepal Naveen Srivastav and high officials of Nepal Army and the Nepal government were present during the ceremony. General Seth reached Himalayan nation on Sunday on an official visit at the invitation of his Nepalese army counterpart, General Ashok Raj Sigdel. The conferral of the honorary rank continues a long tradition that started in 1950, under which Nepal and India confer the honorary rank of general on each other's army chiefs. This is Akashvani. You are listening to World News. We bring you the top international news and updates from around the globe. Zambia's President Hakainde Hichilema has been re-elected for a second 5-year term. The Electoral Commission of Zambia has announced the result. President Hichilema secured more than 51% of the votes, winning the presidential election outright and avoiding a runoff. According to the Electoral Commission, Hichilema polled 29,65,326 votes, while his closest rival, opposition leader Brian Mundubile, secured 18,56,217 votes. The election had been closely watched after vote counting was suspended last Friday and resumed several hours later amid heightened security. U.S. Special Envoy Jared Kushner says significant progress was made during his nearly 4-hour meeting with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on the proposed Gaza ceasefire plan. Mr. Kushner said the discussions focused on the reconstruction of Gaza, demilitarization, and Israel's security concerns. He said several concerns raised by Mr. Netanyahu and his team were addressed during the meeting. He added that misunderstandings and what he described as misinformation surrounding the proposed plan were also clarified. Mr. Kushner said the United States remains committed to rebuilding Gaza, but reconstruction would not begin until demilitarization takes place. Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps IRGC has rejected US President Donald Trump's claim that Washington has a back channel for talks with the Iranian force. IRGC spokesperson Hussein Mohebi described the claim as a delusion and said there is no dialogue between IRGC officials and the United States. Mr. Mohebi also said Iran's diplomatic apparatus is not currently engaged in negotiations with Washington, citing what he called the U.S. breach of its promises. India's Ayush Shetty stunned world number 1 and defending champion Shi Yu-chi in the first round of the men's singles at the BWF Badminton World Championships in New Delhi yesterday. Ace shuttler PV Sindhu and the women's doubles pair of Trisa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand also advanced to the second round at the World Championships. We have a report.
Indian shuttlers were off to a winning start today in the first round of the BWF Badminton World Championships in New Delhi. Prodigy Ayush Shetty stunned the defending champion and world number 1 Shi Yu-chi of China 21-14, 13-21, 21-19 in the men's singles. In the women's singles, ace Indian shuttler PV Sindhu registered a dominant win over Sophie Noble of Ireland 21-7, 21-11. In the women's doubles discipline, the Indian duo of Trisa Jolly and Gayatri Gopichand hardly broke a sweat to beat Paula Lopez and Lucia Rodriguez of Spain in straight games 21-9 and 21-13. Earlier in the day, the men's doubles pair of M.R. Arjun and Hariharan Amsa Karunan advanced to the second round of the men's doubles category. The duo was leading 6-4 in the second game when their opponents Scott Gildy and Paul Reynolds of Ireland retired hurt. The duo had won the game 21-16. With Vishnu P.S., Bhanu Pratap Singh, Akashvani News, Delhi.
And now, before we close, here are the highlights of the bulletin. US President Donald Trump praises India's voter ID system, hails it as a model for stricter US election rules. India to host 12th BRICS Environment Ministers meeting in New Delhi today. Indian Army Chief General Dheeraj Seth conferred rank of Honorary General of Nepal Army by President Ramchandra Paudel in Kathmandu. Direct exports and imports from Vizhinjam Seaport in Kerala begins today. And Ayush Shetty stuns world number 1 and defending champion Shi Yu-chi in first round of men's singles at BWF Badminton World Championships in New Delhi. And that is the end of this World News Bulletin.